Welcome to Face Replacement Part 3. In Part 2, we fine-tuned the location of Bonnie's face, used the paintbrush tool and the layer mask to remove sort of all the excess stuff around the outside of her face. Didn't quite get it all. See this little blob of nothing up here? Let me just kind of get rid of that. I mean, you can kind of tell. You can look at this layer mask. See, there's a lot of weird little blobs. I mean, I'm not done yet, but go ahead and clean some of that stuff up a little bit. Get it, get it out of the way now. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to pick up that piece of hair hanging down in her face there. Now to do that, I'm going to make this bigger. So I'm going to go to from 200. Let's go to 400. All right. Let's drop the opacity down so I can see her face. All right, now I'm going to change my brush to a much smaller size. Let's go. Notice when I change it. Notice the cursor over here in the tool options. Cursor is going to change to a little. There it goes. That symbol there. Once it does that, then I can go in and just pretty much do what I want to. Otherwise, it acts all goofy. All right, size 3. Notice it's very small now. So I'm basically just going to kind of come on in and trace it, and I can be a little, a little loose here because I'm actually going to match the skin tones pretty good, so it doesn't really matter if I deviate much. I don't want to get too carried away, but some cases it's much more critical than others. This is one of those situations where it's really not going to be an issue. So now if I bring the opacity back, you can kind of see that the center section is, I just go kind of do that. As you can kind of see, I kind of went outside the lines a little bit here. Again, not critical because we're going to be doing we're going to match that. Okay. Let me kind of clean this area up here, up at the top of her hairline, just a touch, right there. Over by your ear a little bit again. Most of this is going to get taken care of when I'm going down by her hair, by her eye now. Most of this is going to be taken care of in just a moment when I start doing colors and such. All right. Let me go back to 200. View, zoom back to 200. All right. Because I want to be able to see the colors, the surrounding colors. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here in the layer window. I'm going to select the Bonnie layer, and I'm going to go to the main menu and select colors. I usually start with brightness and contrast. That brings up this thing. So essentially I'm just going to kind of kick up the contrast a little bit, and that also changes the color, you'll notice. And I try to match sort of the look of the background with the look of what I'm bringing in. Just kind of try to get the dynamics roughly the same. That's pretty good. And I can adjust the brightness up or down as necessary. That was, I'm just demonstrating there. But I'm just going to kind of leave it right about there. I'm trying to match the basic tone as best I can. So let me say okay here. Now I'm going to go to the color hue saturation window. Okay, now the hue is the first one I'm going to mess with. So basically just a couple upticks will kind of cheat it over towards yellow a little bit. So I'm trying to kind of match that sort of neck tone. Now if I go too far, it kind of goes to green. I really don't want green. So we just kind of bring it back. Now if that's not if you don't get the perfect tone out of this thing, it's like, well, that's just too doggone green. Then you can play with the saturation. I can increase the saturation, and in this case that does a pretty good job of matching those colors. About when you think you got it about right, what you want to do is let me say okay here, because I can always edit, undo if I want to. You can always say okay, and let me go back to the original view, the original 67%, and just see if I like the colors. You know, I still want to mess with it, maybe drop the brightness a notch. In fact, I can leave it this size and do that. So let me select colors again, hue, saturation, and let me just play with the lightness control. Okay, I think I got the lightness about right here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try the brightness contrast again. Just going to kick the contrast up just a little bit so I can get a differentiation between her background and her foreground. And I'm hitting the, you know, dropping the darkness a little bit. I like that, but it's kind of popping out at me too much. So I'm going to go back to color, hue, saturation. I'm going to drop the saturation just a couple of ticks until I get that. Okay, I think that's where I need that to be. Okay, I'm going to stop part 3, and then I'm going to come in to do part 4, do some final cleanup, tune up, export, and that should do it.